Hey guys, how's it going? Kevin Cleary here with a first impressions video for you on a new steel will for this year. Now listen guys, I've got to have this little conversation. Steel will, you know, they have in the last few years had something that stands out every year. So we've had the Gekkp from a number of years ago, the Cutjack, the Modus, the Intrigue, all have been knives that, you know, personally I was very interested in getting my hands on, but in a broader context, people have been very, very impressed with. So the question becomes, can they follow it up in 2019 with another knife that everyone just is in love with? And I think they may just pull it off. This is the F40 Piercer. This is the G10 and titanium version. I got this from White Mountain Knives, and if you want to use my discount code SHARPSTUFF, you can get yours from there and get 10% off. Let me go ahead and bring the knife in here. So there we go. There is the steel will piercer. As I said, this is the titanium frame lock version. There's also a G10 liner lock version. And someone can correct me down in the comments if I'm wrong, but I think the liner lock version has a black blade and the titanium frame lock version has a satin blade. I could be wrong. Maybe you can get both blades in both variations. I'm not 100% sure, but either way, I think this is pretty nicely done. And you know, obviously I don't have the frame lock version, but if it feels anything close to the way this feels in hand, I think it will be very, very nice as well. Let me give you a quick rundown here on materials and then specs, and then give you my first impressions, as well as share one little hiccup with you to start off. So we've got a D2 blade here, sort of a leaf-shaped blade with a top swedge, very high flat grind, nice and thin. I think this is going to be a really nice EDC blade, really, really slicey. We have titanium frame lock here, stainless steel lock bar insert, kind of as expected. The construction on this here is, we got a standoff in the middle and then a backspacer back here, but very, very open. One thing I do want to show you while we're kind of going over the features of the knife, not the stop pin, but the washers. Check out the phosphor bronze washers in there. I love to see that on any kind of EDC knife. You know, a knife that's just meant to be used and carried and do work, that's not meant to be a showpiece, that's not trying to impress anyone, it's just trying to be practical. And in that style of a knife, I absolutely prefer phosphor bronze washers, and so I love that they went with that option here. Really, really nicely done, steel will. Glad to see that you went that route. Moving on very quickly, you can see reversible pocket clip there, lanyard hole. And the way you reverse this pocket clip is by removing this screw and just flipping it over. And that little slot you can see, there you go, that little slot you can see just allows for that to be reversed over to the other side. Big lanyard hole if you want to put paracord through there or something like that. So two quick things to cover sort of as we finish off here. The first one being the specs. This knife is actually a little smaller than I generally like, but it is so hand-filling and so feels just great in hand, and so that really makes up for it. Only 3¼ inches on the blade length here, 4½ inches on the handle, and overall 7 5/8. So you guys know I kind of have that 8 inches, my magic number, but this one, it is so good that I think I can probably overlook that that number because I actually enjoy this that much. It just feels so good in hand. Now, maybe by the time I get to my full review, I'll be wishing that this had a longer blade and just saying, yep, this one is no good because it just doesn't have enough blade for me. By the way, while we're talking about specs, it does weigh in at 3.8 ounces, so fairly comfortable weight, especially considering one side is full tie. They've done a really good job keeping this at a very comfortable carry weight. So the one thing I do have to say about this knife is when it first came, the action, the smoothness really wasn't there. So I did have to open this knife up, clean out the pivot, kind of give it a good clean with some paper towels and baby wipes, re-lubricate it, put everything back together, and now it is much, much nicer. So you may have to do that with yours if you get one. On the bright side, they do come apart pretty easily, or at least mine did, so I don't anticipate any problems with that. Now, the one question I guess that just occurred to me that I can't answer is I don't know what they're doing with how they've actually put together the G10 version, whether it still has a backspacer or whether it's all standoff construction. So what is my initial impression of this knife? Well, I already kind of told you that when I saw the design, I was really interested. Maybe I didn't tell you that. If not, when I saw the design, I was really interested. So I looked into getting one of these. And of course, as I already mentioned, Justin had one. And so I picked it up from him. And wow, guys, I think this is going to be an EDC win for sure. Will it rival the Cutjack and the Modus and some of the other well-known steel wheels? The, what was it, the Resident? Steel Wheel Resident? What was there was another budget-friendly titanium frame lock that I reviewed on the channel here not that long ago, and for some reason the name is just evading me right at the moment. But I think this really belongs in that list of really impressive steel wheel knives that boy, guys, I've got to say, I love what they have done here. I really do. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and I guess you got to hit the notification button these days as well because, I don't know, YouTube is weird these days. And if you're going to buy one of these, please go over to White Mountain Knives. That does help the channel out. Again, thanks for watching. We'll talk to you soon.